and I'm contesting this senatorial by-election. I've contested 3 times before. This will be my 4th election. My vision for Nimba County has never changed. I've always sought to get into the Senate so as to ensure that Nimba County, the biggest county in Liberia, the most populous county in Liberia, can get its fair share of the national budgetary allocation. And in the House of Senate, whatever decision you make, it's actually for the rest of Liberia. We want to make sure that the executive and the judiciary, the legislature, the Senate can work together for the people of Liberia. We cannot continue to shortchange our citizens and not implementing laws that have been made, the executive not implementing, and the legislature not creating that check and balance through their oversight. These have been some of my concerns in the past, and we want to make sure that we can work with the rest of the officials of our government to bring common sense idea that make Liberia work and that make Liberia live its true meaning as a land of liberty, a land for all, a land in which people's rights will be respected, their rights to quality education, their rights to good health care, their rights to conducive infrastructure and security can be respected. Unless these things are done, we are not a country. And we can do that in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, but precisely in the Senate, where I've had my eyes fixated for the past 14 years in separate elections. Having said that, this election is one of the elections that things are happening that have never happened in any election in this country, let alone Nimba County. This is a senatorial election that unfortunately the government, and specifically the vice president, has made it look like it's a presidential election. They are breaking every rule on the book. They are violating the code of conduct. You have the vice president using the vice presidential motorcade from village to village and dishing out money. This violates the code of conduct. This is vote buying. But that action alone is vote rigging. You are calling chiefs and threatening people to, if they don't vote for your candidate, then they're not going to have their jobs. You are calling journalists overnight and giving them money to not announce the result early. You are doing all of these things. What is this, Liberians? I am calling on every world Liberian, every well-meaning Liberian, to see what is happening as a threat to our democracy, as a threat to our existence as a people, because elections has consequences, and then electoral violence has the propensity to disrupt an entire nation. Nimba County is a county that has a history. We don't want that history repeated, and so we are calling the vice president out on this. Vice President Jeremiah Kpankun, I am not contesting against you. Do not make this election about you and myself. You are not running for the Senate. You are the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. You need to stop what you are doing. It is not right. Thank you.
So on yesterday, we saw a violent pushback from supporters of Honorable Coker towards your supporter. You didn't speak about the violence that is happening.
I mean, it's so that the multiplicity of attacks makes it so challenging to even speak about one. We had a situation in Berkeley. Unfortunately, to this day, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, who has thrust himself in this election, has made no statement or any sort of condemnation. That was a violation of our constitutional right to say we cannot campaign in a specific locale in Nimba. That's that. I mean, it violates the Liberian Constitution. It violates the election law. And then yesterday, while campaigning again in Tapeta, we were clearly supposed to be in Tapeta. We stated that in our schedule. The other people, Mr. Honorable Koga's people came driving their car left and right in the crowd, trying to disperse the crowd and causing disturbance. This is electoral violence. It's unacceptable. And then everybody these days goes live. Some people were going live. Unfortunately, when these issues are flagged, then they will claim that, oh, you're trying to sensationalize issue. I didn't take it live. Others, citizens, now the good thing is we have citizen journalism. So ordinary people are going live and speaking about it. This is not right, and the Elections Commission actually needs to flag these issues and then take immediate and drastic action according to the law. We're also calling on the international community, our international partner, the diplomatic community in Liberia, to watch this, because we are a global community. What affects Liberia, what affects little Nimba, who have an impact on Ivory Coast, Guinea, whatever, because we live in a close community. And so we want our election to be peaceful. We have remained peaceful. Everywhere we see other contenders, we drive through and don't come back until they leave the area. That's all we need to do. We need for this election to be civil. There is no need to intensify the level of verbal aggression and even physical aggression, because your presence in your car and trying to drive through a crowd, it is somehow distracting and it's not right. It needs to stop.
I'm constantly focused on Liberia. I've been the only female candidate in a heated traditional political settings in Nimba County. Now, you can speak of some of your challenges as a female candidate you've been facing over the past time. And lastly, many Nimbalians are concerned about what difference with the issue of oversight and representation in the House of Senate Madam Weh is bringing to the table.
So, being the only female in the election, the challenges are enormous. The challenges are plentiful. It's not something new. It's just that it has been, increased in this election cycle. But every election that I've participated in, I've either been the lone female candidate or one of two female candidates. And we've been the target. I've been the target by my male counterparts. In many instances, they've used insults as a weapon. They've weaponized insults, but because they've realized that insults over the years have not faced me, so now they've accelerated their attacks to a whole new level. Now it's more of a constitutional violation, because they realize that the insults have not worked, the different propagandas have not worked. So now they are barring us from participating or from campaigning in specific locations. They are also trying to interrupt our rallies. They are using cash to go down to the people and buy votes. They are using all kinds of mechanisms. But what is interesting is that the more they do this, they are campaigning for me, because it is angering the electorate. Never mind what you hear them say on radio. Oh, we are leaving, we are going to this, we are not going to vote for nothing. I've heard that some other group this morning said we were giving $150,000, therefore they are pledging their support to the government candidate. Look, what I do know is that secretly, as they come from there, they still file to vote for us. All we want the vice president to do is to take his hands off this election. Let him take his knee over the democratic process of Nimba. Do not stifle it. It is not good for you. It is not good for the county. It is not good for the country. Apparently, some people really don't care about what is said about them, but Vice President Kuhn is making this election about him, and clearly it has absolutely nothing to do with him. He is not running for the Senate. I'm not sure he's going to be running for the Senate anytime in his lifetime, because he's ascended to a different level and he needs to keep at that level and start bringing himself to our level. at the level of the Senate. I'm not asking him not to support his candidate, but supporting your candidate does not mean that you should violate the laws, just to support your candidate. It doesn't mean that you should threaten the participation of others just to support your candidate. It doesn't mean...
Is there anything we didn't talk about and you wanted to mention?
No, I think we've captured everything. What I want to tell our people this morning is, yes, they will bring you the money. It's your money. Eat it. Don't have any remorse for eating it. You don't have to vote for it. The reason they're bringing you the money is because they have not done what they're supposed to do. If you've been in the legislature for over 12 years, 15 years, and you have to pay this amount of money just to be listening to, that raises serious question. If you are that good enough, you didn't even have to campaign, because election campaign, you live your life like you're campaigning. So if your life has not campaigned for you, if you're working in legislature, if you're working in vice presidency, has not campaigned for you, this little window of opportunity, no amount of vote buying can make the difference. I'm just calling on our supporters and citizens of Nimba to see this as a challenge, women of Nimba, to see this as a challenge and rise up to meet that challenge head on by telling them no, by telling them that you have your own common sense and nobody is going to dictate what you know is right. Nobody is going to dictate that you do what you know is wrong. And the people of Nimba know we have a long-standing relationship. They know what is right for this county. They know what I stand for this county and what I mean for this county. And they know it. And they're going to do the right thing. I'm just asking them to remain focused and do not be distracted by all these sidebars. I believe they are just mere distractions.
Madam Google, lastly, before we take leave of you, you have contested full-time. If on the contrary things go wrongly, will you still contest?
Nobody holds a crystal ball to know what the future has. What I can tell you is my concern is the here and now. It is the here and now that I have control over. Right now, I'm contesting this election, and I know I'm going to win this election no matter what they do. It's already signed. The people of Nimba are resolved. The future will determine what happens.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So, folks, I want to say thank you.
So that was the voice of Madam. You conclude with you speaking to the media on election violence. So, folks, thank you for following. Thank you for watching.